Most founders believe when they get traction and a clear pitch deck, that will seal the deal. But investors are saying it's how you're showing up with clarity, consistency, and communication to help you stand out. Those things build trust. In today's episode, we'll show you what are the green flags every single founder needs to show in order to get the right funding, partnership, and your next pilot. You'll walk away knowing exactly what makes investors say yes and become that founder. Welcome to Provider's Edge, the podcast that helps healthcare entrepreneurs and innovators break down barriers and control their business, life, and future with valuable action steps. With me, your host, Sabrina Rombach, a recovered clinician and a business deal catalyst. Let's rewrite the rules and create a positive social impact while increasing your profitability. Before we dive into today's expert conversation, I want to pause for a minute and talk directly to the innovators in the room, especially if you're preparing for a raise or aim to land a pivotal partnership this year. Your pitch isn't just a story, it's a strategy. And if you're still guessing what investors or decision makers want to hear, you're already behind. That's exactly why we built Pitch to Yes. We don't just critique your pitch, we co-create it with you. You will walk away with a persuasion scorecard and a written pitch that turns attention into action. Apply at pitchtoyes.com. Now let's dive into today's conversation. Every year, incredible women are building solutions within the healthcare space, but they rarely get spotlighted on the right platform. That's why I team up with Dealflow Exchange to host Women in HealthTech Think Tank, where we're matching investors and women-led companies who have gone through our process to be recognized and to get funded. In this first part of the event, we did a reverse Q&A of the 3 investors that we invited to be our judges and to answer some of the questions that these founders ask us that they truly want to hear. And those will be the answers you are likely want to stay tuned. We asked them what truly earned their attention, what makes them say yes, and what turns them off. Let's dive into today's conversation.
We're so excited for this event. Overwhelmingly, we had almost 60 people apply to this event. That really means there are so many women-led companies in the health and wellness space. And we're welcoming our panelists. So love for Naomi to introduce yourself, give us your title, your company, and what are your investment focus on?
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everyone. I'm Naomi Goez. I lead the investment team at Forum Ventures. Quick note on us as a firm. We're a multi-strategy early stage fund. So we run 3 strategies. We have a studio, an accelerator, and a fund. The best way to think about Forum as a platform is supporting the founder journey everywhere from the -1 through the 1+. So the studio is reserved for incubations. It's at -1 through 0. Our accelerator is the 0 to 1 go-to-market focus. And then we have a fund. We make investments with a check that ranges from $50K to $750K into B2B software sector agnostic opportunities. Our portfolio has over 400 active companies. So it spans literally everything, truly an agnostic portfolio from a sector lens. However, in the last couple of years of being at Forum, I have been spending a lot more of my time on healthcare. I'm by no means an expert, but I'm learning a lot and really excited to meet everyone in the room today.
Thank you, Naomi. Yes, even some of us who have degrees in healthcare, we don't know anything about healthcare. It's all a collaborative and learning process for all of us. Next up, Jasper.
Yes, I'm reminded of that famous quote, nobody knew healthcare could be so complicated. I apologize for the rough voice. I've got a minor touch of the plague, but I'm making it. So hi, everybody. My name is Jasper. Normally when I don't have the voice for voiceover work, I'm a venture partner at MedStarter. We mostly invest in health tech, though we do have a few things in device space. The fewer 3-letter agencies I have to deal with, the happier I am and the more of my hair I get to keep. So, really, really a lot in the health tech world and looking into SaaS solutions and stuff like that. We tend to be earlier stage. So in the past, we've cut 50 to 500K checks. We're raising for 3 various funds right now, and they're, all different risk pools. And so that'll likely change. But anyway, that's about me. Happy to be here.
Jasper. Thank you. And next up, Veda.
Hi, everyone. I'm Veda from Conductive Ventures. And my path is a little bit different. So we are a generalist venture fund, but I spend around 50% of my time looking at healthcare and health tech. And I actually really like women's health, which is why I'm really excited to be here as well. But my background was a little bit operational within a life sciences company and then some more experience on the tech side. So I love bridging the two together and finding the most interesting health tech companies out there. The one thing to note for Conductive, though, is we do shy away from those 3-letter agencies, and we try to not touch that many products that are going through those processes simply because we are not the best partners for those types of companies. But really excited to hear more about you guys and hear the pitches today and excited to be here.
Awesome. Amazing. All right. A really quick round of how the rest of the session goes. First, we're going to have reverse Q&A to our investor panel, where many of the applicants have submitted questions. So we are taking them out to get those questions answered first. Then we have our 6 semifinalists out of the almost 60 applicants to be able to take the stage. Each of them will have 2 minutes to pitch and then 3 minutes to get feedback from the investor panel. All right, so let's get started with our reverse Q&A.
Real quick, if you're a healthcare founder building in women's health, mental health, digital health, age tech, biotech, diagnostics, or longevity, we built Capital Engine for you. We don't just get you in the room, we make sure you're ready to own it. Our team vets the right investors and potential C-suite operators to help you validate products, run pilot trials, or scale your next revenue partner. Some founders get so much investor interest, they've asked us to slow it down. And whether it takes 2 months or 2 years, we stay with you until your raise is closed with expert advisors who've built and exited healthcare companies themselves. Apply now at Capital Engine VC and let's get to work. All right, let's get back to the second half of our show.
So Naomi, you're first on the block. What we would love for you to answer is, what do you actually look for beyond the pitches themselves? Is it market size? Is it founder track record, or the regulatory compliance, or financials, or something else completely?
Yeah, I love this question. I actually got into a live debate with a few investors about this on a panel not that long ago. So I clearly feel really passionate. But at the end of the day, what I optimize for is founder market and founder product fit. I'm sure you've all heard those terms. For me, the way that I think about it is, has the founder solving a specific problem genuinely lived the problem that they're looking to solve? That means that they have a really nuanced understanding of the problem. That means that they also deeply understand the value chain that they're looking to sell into. Not just the stakeholders that they're selling to, but how our stakeholders that they might not be selling to may be impacted by their solution, and the incentive alignment or misalignment within that value chain. They have a deep understanding of the workflows that they're selling to. They usually have some sort of distribution advantage because they actually come from that world, right? So if they lived and breathed the problem or worked in a specific space, they probably have an unfair advantage in getting in front of their customers relative to their peers. So that lived experience and nuanced understanding is the most important thing to me. That to me surpasses having built something in the past, being a second-time founder, all of that stuff. I really, really want to understand people who are obsessed with the problem, with their customers, and have a deep understanding of it.
Perfect. Yes, it's that total connection, compassion, and how much they are actually getting into the psychology. All right, perfect. Next up, Jasper. We would love for you to answer what specific red flags or gaps often stop you from investing in a company.
Yeah, so there's something funny about having the guy answer the red flag question. Anyway, no, so when I'm thinking about red flags in companies, one of the things I'm really on edge about is when I see a founder who is a superstar and there's no one else on the team, or the rest of the team makes up like 10% of the effort in the company. Because I'm actually working with one of those founders now, and she's amazing, but she's a shop of one, and like there's nobody else really supporting her. And it's like, it's great that you're a rock star, but what happens when life happens? What happens when you get sick, or whatever it happens to be? What happens when you lose your motivation? Investor talks don't go well, and the wind's kind of taking you out of your sails. Do you have somebody else in your team that can help kind of like cheer you and cheer you on and kind of pick up the mantle as well? And as well, I look at that, but I also really look at just kind of general drive, right? So we've had people kind of come through our house where it's like, this is a good idea. You're not necessarily the right team to be leading it because of like a general lack of, drive, kind of force of will, and like willingness to just stick with it when things get tough. So those are some of the red flags I look for. Also, if you don't know your numbers, obviously, one of the biggest things, I had a founder recently and they said, we have no competitors. And I had to struggle to not laugh because objectively, that's not true. Like, unless you've got a cure for cancer, you have competitors. And, not knowing them is pretty much one of the cardinal sins when you kind of go to an investor. Say, oh, we don't know our numbers, or we don't know, we don't have competitors. Like, oh, really? Ooh, that's not the best tact. So those are some red flags.
Yeah, for sure, because we often hear people wanted to be a solo founder, or they say, "Oh, finding a co-founder is just too hard." But really, if all of us are just by ourselves, even the best shining star does need to have a complete ecosystem support. We often talk about this 5-dimensional support. So knowing who you are, how do you build that support is super important, just like Jasper said. And also the fact that when you don't know competitors, sometimes it's because the pitching and how we say the outcome of what you're doing, actually probably many people have different methods. Just because you have a unique method, if you're delivering the same outcome, you do have competitors. So thinking about how to stand out really is a great point that Jasper brought up. All right, let's move to our next lovely panelist, Veda. So we would love for you to answer, beyond capital, how specifically will you help women-led companies to grow, and how would you help them to even maybe identify some of the milestones?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually think in venture, you have funders and you have partners. And I'm proud to call myself one of the latter. And so one of the things that I love to do is take a founder first approach and really learn and realize at the beginning of an investment what exactly this company needs to go forward and scale. And I think that can look like a bunch of different things, but when it comes to helping them figure out the right milestones, or what the North Star metric might be, or how to really think about the business from someone who's seen a bunch of other types of businesses grow, I think, having those monthly touch points and having a thought conversation with the founders either once a week or once a month is really, really helpful. And I like to be there every step of the way. So if it's providing access or providing introductions, or, I've even built models for founders that didn't have a finance person and that were going out to raise. And so I like to guide and help wherever they may need. And if you're a founder that knows everything that's going on and you just really need a little bit of support, that's also great. We're happy to help there. But like I said, I think rolling up your sleeves and being an investor that's able to sort of jump in wherever the gaps are and wherever there is room for the founder to use guidance and help. I think it's really important to find the right partner to do that. And the right partner will never be afraid of rolling up their sleeves and helping you, no matter how minuscule or small of a task.
Yeah, perfectly said. At the end of the day, we're investing in people, investing into the bigger mission and impact these health tech solutions people are bringing together. So it has to be more of a partnership, a collaborative. And I think many founders are in that mindset of not just taking any check. They really would love to work with investors, firms, truly believe in them, and then know how to support them as they go forward. So I have one last question. It's going to be a rapid question for all three of you. We would love to hear from you. What make an absolute yes for you, especially investing in these early stage companies? Naomi, we'll start with you.
I think obviously there's a lot that goes into it, but really broad strokes, I think about it in terms of some green flags during due diligence, the how and the what. The how is how you show up. And I don't just mean presentation layer and like your communication skills. I mean like the sense of urgency with which you show up. I really love an example that happened to me recently where I came back to a founder with a few questions and they immediately came back with like a Loom going through all my questions asynchronously. And it took so little time, but it was so thoughtful. So that's the how. And the what was their quick iteration. So they were able to show me a lot of substance in a short amount of time. So obviously it was super early. It was still like MVP days, but week over week during diligence, I saw how quickly they iterated and they were so customer obsessed. So they would take feedback 1 week and would be able to double down on the features that were really working the second week. And that to me is major green flag and made due diligence very smooth.
Perfect. So well said, right? Even just as this application process, that's all those factors, how people showing up, right? Are you following up on messages? How quickly you're responding? Are you reading things? Or you start complaining about, oh yeah, we're writing 2 other grants. That's why we missed it, right? So all of those does matter on how people showing up and how quickly they're adapting and changing and growing. Awesome. Thank you. Jasper, how about you?
Yeah, no, I will second that. Again, I really apologize for the voice. I would second that sentiment of like consistency is so key, right? Are you different week to week? Some weeks you're like very responsive and you're real go-getter and you're like, oh, this is all the progress I made this week. And then the next week, just the wind's out of your sails. And it's not because you're feeling under the weather or whatever. It's just you didn't do much. So, I mean, like, I hate to give the consultant answer. It depends, but it kind of does. So green flags for me, I'm really looking at, obviously, do you know your numbers, all of those things, but it's mostly like, have you thought about next steps? Like, okay, this is what I'm doing right now. Great, cool. What's down the road? Like where are you building towards? And are you thinking about it in a strategic manner? And are you going about it in different ways? Right. So, if you're hoping to get acquisition someday, great. Like that's definitely a path, right? No, not everybody has to IPO. But how are you doing that? Like obviously build a company and get more customers and all of that. But are you developing partnerships? Are you like networking into the companies that you may be looking to get acquired by, a Cardinal or a Abbott or what have you? Like, how else are you doing this? Are you getting kind of coverage to build the profile to kind of get that attention? It's really those kind of things of like, not just what's directly in front of you, but how are you getting to your goals? And are you taking more than one path to get there? Because that's definitely going to accelerate your timeline, So, yeah.
Perfect. And Veda?
Not to drive down the point even further, but I so 100% agree with what Naomi and Jasper said about communication. I think it can be the biggest green flag or the biggest red flag. And candidly, we haven't done deals because communication got thrown off. Maybe even like almost at the end of the diligence process, right before the term sheet, communication's just not there. We're not going to submit it. And that's just what it is. But to speak more to the things that I do like to look for and the things that I find as a lot of green flags, first is founder passion. And I think that can come from founder market fit or some other story, but really understanding the motivation behind why you're building the product or service that you are building really gives me insight into how passionate and how driven and motivated you are to really build this product out to the furthest of its ability. And I think that that is one of the clearest indicators to me of how you as a founder will perform. Are you going to, are you building this company just to build something and sell it, just to make a couple $1 million to, $20 million profit? Or are you building this to really provide this product, put it in front of as many people as you can, and have it impact and change the way that, businesses or people interact? And that kind of goes into my second green flag. Are you solving a problem? If you're kind of building something and it's nice to have, but it's not really ingrained, it's not really in depth, it's not really fixing something that's wrong or something that needs to be improved, sometimes those don't do as well when it comes to scale. And so I always like to see a problem being solved or a very clear, product market fit, or at least like a viable product market fit that you've shown through partnerships or early traction or user engagement data, or, even if you do pilots, just really showing that your product is needed out there. And then the last thing I'll mention, especially when it comes to health tech and when it comes to women's health, especially, is, are you going beyond what traditional healthcare looks like here? Women's health, as we all know, has been in the back burner, not in the forefront of anybody's mind over the last 20, 40, 60 years. And now that we're actually coming up in this era where women are building for women, I want to see that you are challenging the traditional norms and you're creating these types of products or services that are really accelerating the path for women to not only understand their bodies, but learn from them and then hopefully have solutions for them. That's a long-winded answer of some of the green flags I look for.
Amazing. Appreciate all three of you for all the insights that you're giving to all of those applicants who are here, not just our top 6 finalists.
Thank you for tuning in to Provider's Edge podcast. We hope you enjoy our latest episode and found the insights and tips helpful. We'd love to hear your feedback on the show and learn what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. So please take a moment to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and let us know what you think. Your feedback is essential to help us improve the show and provide you with the content you need to take your healthcare business to the next level. Thank you for your support, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.